be 11 plus, but I failed.
Yeah, I failed by a few marks.
I feel really lucky because not everyone gets the chance to go to a grammar school.
Grammar schools are making a comeback.
Good morning.
For the first time in decades, there's a serious debate about whether to expand selective education.
Caecilius S. Pater.
When I am older, I would like to be a lawyer.
We are, in effect, talent spotting, which to me just seems a perfectly logical thing to do.
Every year, tens of thousands of children take the 11 plus selection test. But only about 1 in 4 makes it through.
I do want to get into a grammar school just for the opportunities I might have.
A lot of pressure. They really want me to pass.
When you get to the end of that section, please put your pencil down.
Through the autumn term, we follow 4 children as they take the test.
Good luck. Do your best.
Yeah.
All right, that's all you've got to do.
Right up to results day.
Selection panel decided seems pupils selective if they achieved a total of 240.
Am I going to be successful in life, or am I going to be just a big failure?
The London Borough of Bexley is one of the few areas in the UK that has a fully selective education system. Most pupils here take the selection test, or 11 plus, which decides who can apply to grammar school and who goes to a secondary modern.
Good morning. How are we feeling about being in year 6? Good! Gonna be a good year? I just knew it. Gonna work hard? Yes! Really hard, Philip? Yes. Next week, they will sit their secondary selection tests, which is our local authority's 11 plus system. As a school, it is about everybody being one, regardless of where they're going off to for secondary school. They are still one here. They are together. They are ours. And it gets very emotional towards the end of the year when we say goodbye to them because we've nurtured them all the way through. Sorry.
What have you been doing to realise about the 11 plus? Are you even doing it? You are.
Hello! Who has the kin test on Saturday?
I'm Dave.
The selection test gauges children's cognitive abilities through verbal and non-verbal reasoning. In grammar school areas in England, around 1 in 4 children reach the selective level.
Some jobs you do have to go to a grammar school, so if I do pass, I do sort of want to get into a grammar school just for the opportunities I might have.
All my family really do want me to pass. They would feel really proud of me if I did pass.
If I pass my 11 plus, my mum said I can get whatever I want, so I would get the latest iPhone X. Because I've done my part, so it's their turn to do their part. So if they don't get it, then I'll be really annoyed.
You can't come back.
I worry about if I don't pass and all my friends do, or someone that I don't like, which passes and I don't, they're probably going to make fun of me and all that.
Philip's been practicing for the test for over a year.
This is my bedroom. It's not the tidiest at the moment, but over here is my PS3. It's not like a PS4 or Xbox or anything, but it's still something to play with. And I use my TV a lot.
That skimmed it, I think.
Does that count?
Yeah.
Do we take skimmers?
Yeah, I think we do.
Yay.
We try to impress on him that there's no pressure. You know, it's just that we want him to give it a go, give it his best shot, and we'll see what happens.
I almost hit the post.
Hopefully he knows that and he's not going to worry. He's not worried too much about it.
It means quite a lot because I can have I can have a better life, and I won't be like poor. If
You're not going to be poor just if you fail.
No, just in case you like don't pass your GCSEs, don't pass your university, don't pass anything, and you just fail in life.
In a few years' time, if we don't go to the same school, we probably won't even remember each other's names. We'll be like, oh, remember that kid that supported West Ham? Oh yeah, he was one of my best friends.
We did try and get him to practice, didn't we, when we were away in the van?
Yeah, we sat outside the awning on the caravan with him and went through some of the exercises.
Yeah, but they are quite difficult.
So Daffyd is saving money for a new camera. In week 1, he puts £50 into the bank. Each week, the amounts he puts into the bank halves. In which week does the amount that Daffyd wants to put into the bank contain half a penny?
And that's why we didn't go to grammar school.
Yep.
This time next year, the children taking the 11 Plus now will either be at a non-selective school or somewhere like this, one of just 163 grammar schools in England.
These are all the planners for the different tutor groups. There are 7 houses named after the Greek goddesses, which we felt was a fairly good role model for the students. Well, some of it's a good role model, and we ignore some of the less savoury parts.
Townley Grammar is a girls' school which takes boys in the 6th form.
I would categorise Townley as a high-performing school. On a results basis, we're pretty high in terms of our results, we're the highest performing school in our local authority. Ofsted rated us as outstanding. I couldn't have asked for a better Ofsted report, I'll be perfectly honest.
Good morning, welcome back. Good morning.
My father was a labourer. I didn't have a grammar school education. First time I set foot in a grammar school was as a deputy head. What I believe is that this school, Townley, is the example of what a grammar school could be. There's been a lot of public statements about grammar schools chock full of white middle-class students.
Morning, girls. Straight down there, take a left.
And very often by people who have never set foot in a grammar school. I'm sure those schools exist, but this isn't it. You walk around this school, you see the students that are here, that's not the image of them. We do an immense amount of outreach with primary schools. We have one of the highest proportions of free school meals in any grammar school nationally.
Good morning and welcome, Year 7. Welcome to Townley, your first day. You're clearly very excited about all of this, and good thing too, you've got a marvellous and exciting adventure ahead. Remember today, you only do this once, so don't miss the moment while it lasts. In all the excitement, in all your chatter, in getting to know everyone, take a moment to reflect and remember this. And allow yourself a little bit of quiet and peace at some point today, just for yourself, to consider what's ahead of you. Enjoy. Thank you.
When did you become such a fantastic writer?
I don't know.
That is beautiful. Echoing sirens, calling names.
Upland doesn't specifically coach the children for the 11 Plus and doesn't advise on who should take the exam. That's up to their parents.
I can remember being asked very early on in my career, will my child pass the selection tests? And I said, you know what, I like a bet on the Grand National. I would never put my money on it. It's a day thing, and it's how the children perform on the day. And do I agree with it? No. I wasn't brought up in a selective system. Didn't come from a system that had selective schools, non-selective schools. It would just be ideal to say everybody goes and gets those same opportunities at secondary school. I thought about the little girl in Year 1 conquering her phonics. You're a very determined young lady, Janita.
Bye. Woo! No!
Did your mum go to a grammar school? Did your mum? Did your mum?
Like none of our parents went.
No.
Ruby, get in! I can't, I'm too tall. Ruby.
Our parents have like different things that they want their children to be in the future. Like some parents want them to succeed, be like the best and be at the head of everybody.
I don't think grammar school is fair because people are still quite young to feel like they've failed.
My mum's like this. Janita, if you don't pass 11 plus, I don't know.
I don't know.
Upstairs is where all of the bedrooms. I sleep on the top bunk. My sister sleeps on the bottom with her son. He's 2 months and a week old.
What's it like sharing a room with your nephew?
And it's fun. It's just like when he wakes up, he starts doing his talking. It gets on my nerves and I shout at him.
Is it a peaceful house?
No, not at all. With this boy and my other brother fighting a lot, it's hardly peaceful. All they do is shout. And when my cousins come round, it's so noisy. I can't even do my work, neither can I sleep. This is my mum.
Hello. Tell me about your mum.
She likes disciplining. She doesn't like children who are naughty.
It's really important. It's really important to discipline a child. It helps them and make them strong too. So I like it, to be honest.
Jonita's mum never completed her own education.
We have good schools in Ghana, but it costs a lot. It's very expensive. My parents pay for my education, but I came to a point that we all have to drop school because of money. I like education and I just want to put all my effort on her. If you want your child to be in higher or to become a better in future, I think it's good to add the drama school, to sponsor with the drama school because it will help the children.
The children selected for grammar school will find themselves surrounded by high-achieving classmates.
Girls, that's quite loud. Thank you.
Terry Funk is a form tutor for the new Year 7 intake.
I think most grammar schools have a certain elevated status amongst the people who live in the borough. So the girls here really feel like they've made it, and that's good.
OK, so house captain, there was 11 people put their hands up. Let's go for it.
Good morning. I would like to become house captain because, first of all, I enjoy assisting teachers with their work. When I am older, I would like to be a lawyer. This might change, but my point is I'm good at debating, which means I see both sides of an argument.
I feel that I am a responsible girl. I will be careful and use 110% of my effort.
If I become a house captain, I will ensure good discipline and punctuality maintained during school time. I don't always and consistently listen to the same people, and this is probably because I'm an extremely strong believer in equality.
Again, a really strong speech. Excellent. We have a new house captain, and the role of house captain...
They're high achieving, or if they're not, they want to be. And that has pressures and stresses, you know, that are completely different, you know, so they still need to learn how to cope.
OK, so we've got character and well-being this morning. And one of the really big characteristics that we really try and encourage is resilience. Does anyone know what that means?
Yeah.
OK, Katya?
So just carry on going even though it's going to be hard.
Yeah, carry on going even when it's really hard, and it is going to get hard. Yes, Lynn? Perseverance, that's a really good definition for it.
Even if, like, you know it's getting harder, you just need to try again.
OK, I'll tell you what you're going to find out first. You're used to getting the top marks all the time, OK? You were like the big fish, and all of a sudden, some of you are not going to get the top marks, and that's going to make you feel really bad. And one of the things you're going to need to do is learn how to pick yourself up and keep on going. You're going to fail sometimes. Don't let it stop you.
Townley is more inclusive than most grammar schools, but in general, if you're better off, you're more likely to get in. Not many from poorer families make it.
It's really hard for poorer, socially disadvantaged students to get to grammar school, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, it is. It's going to be hard for lots of reasons. It's going to be hard because they have to do a test in order to get in.
and their ability to succeed in it is quite likely to be limited by the support that they've had. If they have parental support and ambition, then they will do much better than those that come from a family that don't necessarily have that. And it tends to be more widely represented in more affluent families. If we follow the alternate angle to its logical conclusion, you would take students who have had aspirational parents, who have worked hard, and students who are able and hardworking, and you would put them in another school where they won't get the same level of attention, simply because it seems fairer to everybody else if they don't do as well. And if we build an education around that, then really we're on a hiding for nothing. Nobody's going to be successful.
Okay then, darling, go round onto the curb and we'll walk round.
Recent research suggests private tuition can give an advantage. At Upland, most parents who can afford it do pay for tutors,
Hello, how are you?
even though the exams are designed to be tutor-proof.
So, Gran will something to Japan. What sort of word do you think is going to go in there?
Oh, go or travel, but that wouldn't go with...
Okay, but it's the right context, isn't
Yeah.
it? Now let's look at the second sentence. I wish that something would stop landing near me. So Roman's been coming for almost a year now. We've been working very much on his English, his comprehension, working through word problems, all those sorts of things.
Yeah, so would it be fly like that? And then for the other one, it would be F-L, like, no.
The same.
I was okay in school. I mean, I was quite good. I was above the national average in all the subjects. But then again, even the best of learners need a bit more help and extra tuition. So then, while I do this, that just kind of gives me a heads off of what I'm going to expect for the test, and it is a bit difficult.
They changed the 11 plus to try and make them untutorable. So in that sense, it has made it more challenging. We do have students where the support will help them to go through the test and to go on to a selective school.
It can't be that, it can't be that, it can't be that. So it has to be this one, which has where?
I have also seen tutors advertise saying, you know, guaranteed pass or 100% success rate, that sort of thing. My personal opinion is that we are here to help students no matter what, and if we help them and they get through, then that's brilliant.
All right, that's lovely. Okay.
Have a lovely
Thank
week.
you.
See you
Take
later.
care.
Bye-bye.
Although in school you cover the subjects that you cover, they don't cover how to sit the 11 plus exam. They feel that you shouldn't need to be tutored to pass. But I don't know if you've seen copies of the tests and things like that. I think you do need to be tutored to pass. I probably would need to be tutored to pass it, to be, in all fairness. It's a test and it's a one test. You get one crack at it, and on the day, if you're in the zone, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't.
Some families stretch their finances to the limit to pay for tutors. Jonita's costs £300 a month. Mum works in a shop for £8 an hour.
I started studying in year 3 because that's when my parents started to know about it and they found out.
I spent a lot in the tutor, so I'll be happy when she passes. I'll be very, very happy.
And do you think Janita would have passed the test without the tutor?
No, never. Without a tutor, even I won't go there because I know she won't get it. Never that she can pass it. Yeah. But now she is in the tutor. I have hope that she will pass.
I do 3 hours in tutor. Then I come back home, I rest for a little while, then I go and do my homework. So I study until my mom comes back from work. Then I get ready to go to bed.
A lot of pressure?
A lot of pressure. It's just they really want me to pass.
I think it's a myth, largely, that the tuition dictates entrance to selective schools. If tuition provides practice, then it gives an advantage. But it's not necessarily the tuition. You can have the practice without the tutor.
So you wouldn't advise parents to invest in a tutor?
I don't think you need to do so. You know, you can have parents who excessively tutor their child to such a point that they're so anxious and so nervous by the time they're doing a test, they do far worse than if they just left them alone.
Children who don't make it through selection will go to one of the local non-selective schools, like Erith.
It's a secondary modern school, so they don't do any exams to come in here. It's one of the high deprivation areas in the borough. We've got some very complicated backgrounds with some of our students, but we're used to that. We don't look at that, so we just take them as we see them.
Morning, girls. You all right? Morning. You all right? Yeah. Okay, morning.
Miss Edinburgh is a form tutor for the Year 7 children who've just joined from primary school.
Okay. Morning. You all right? Good morning. Hello, good morning. Contact books out, form time booklets. Get yourself sat down. Why are you eating in the corridor? Can I have that, please? You all right? You okay? Go get yourself sat down. You all right, Joseph? Yeah. Go get yourself sat down. Okay. They're a great bunch. They're a great bunch. There's a lot of characters, and there are still some characters that are still just slightly poking their heads out. Who here has not had breakfast this morning? Right, okay. We need to have breakfast every morning because eating cheesy puffs for breakfast is not acceptable, okay? It's not acceptable. It's not good for you. I have a real mix of children, and some of them are really, really academically able. Some have come in and find it really difficult to read. You've got ones that won't look you in the eye or find it really difficult to look anyone in the eye. That's a concern. Ones that hardly speak.
How important is pastoral care in this school?
It's the most important thing. It is the most important thing. Most important thing by far. Because if they're not safe, happy, looked after, you're going to have kids that cannot learn, that can't learn. We are carrying on with our learning conversations this morning. So, Carly, please come up to the front. You've put these in order of what you think is most important for you. So, number 1 is that you think you need to ask the teacher for help. Yeah? So do you not do that in lessons then at the moment?
Sometimes I'm like a bit shy of asking them.
Okay. So do you think you could ask maybe 2 questions per lesson if we set that as a target? Is that okay? Yeah, okay. You've got the ones that come in that are agitated and then you find out that they've not had breakfast and that they've not actually eaten since lunchtime yesterday. That's a concern. So it's monitoring all of these things all of the time and making sure that nobody falls through the cracks. You know, just because they're quiet doesn't mean that everything's okay. Who's next? Kyra?
Now what we're gonna do? Sam. I got it.
The 11 plus often divides siblings, but Summer is hoping to follow her big sister to Townley Grammar.
Did you get your second bed?
Summer's parents have decided not to pay for private tuition.
This is my bed, and that's Lotso. Here's my favourite teddy. I share this room with my big sister, Evie. This is my bed. Very comfy. Yeah. Your hair. That's amazing. Thank you. There's my massive book collection, which has things like Lego books. We also have something over here, which is just another giant book collection. This is a dining room, also known as the workroom, where I do my 11 plus practice papers.
How much practicing have you been doing?
A bit, not a lot, just a bit. I haven't done much of the maths, even though that's my weakness.
I went to a grammar school and I'm a nurse, which probably wasn't the kind of career they expected me to go into, but there I am. In all honesty, I probably wish we didn't have it because you look at the kerfuffle it's caused for some people and like the stress it causes and then the did you pass, didn't you pass, what school are you going to? It's
like the disappointment.
And with the kids.
All your friends are like, oh, I passed by this many marks.
Was there people that were upset that didn't
yeah,
pass?
Yeah, there was a
year?
few people from my year who
That's quite sad
didn't
at 11, isn't it?
Anyone.
To feel
like didn't want to talk to everyone. They went literally the day after we found out our results. They were just sat in a corner in the playground like, I don't want to talk to anyone. I'm too sad.
Yeah, that makes me feel sad.
Because they'd missed like by 3 marks, I think it was, and they put really a lot of effort into it.
my personal opinion, if you're needing heavy tuition to pass an exam,
You're not passing it because of you.
yeah, I think that's a bit sad. I don't think it's fair. They're too young to be feeling like they're not good enough with what they've got in their brains anyway.
I've heard loads of people in our class saying, oh, I don't want to have to go to tutor after school today, and I didn't want to have to feel like that. Like, I didn't want to have to be like, oh, I have to go to tutor now, don't I?
No, I'd rather come home and eat biscuits.
Who wouldn't want to come home and eat biscuits?
Yeah, Mum, who wouldn't?
The only problem you're going to have is
I
timing.
just think about it too much. Like, I asked
Because if it says Bob buys 7 bananas and they cost 9p each, she's like, why would Bob buy 7 bananas? He's on his own. Why doesn't he buy just one banana?
Get the bunch of bananas in the corner that cost
This is what she does when we do the test.
I think about things too literally. Why do you prefer odd numbers over even? I'm really bad at these ones.
Next one.
Ally.
Ally, that's why you...
It's an ally. Yeah, I know it's an ally. Like
Right,
a
so
friend.
Yeah, so what's the opposite of a friend?
An enemy.
If you're playing on the opposite football team, what are they?
Your... Nothing comes out.
It's rival.
Oh!
So last lesson we looked at what? Yes. The Doomsday Book, yes. So the types of control that we have looked at already is the Harrying of the North, and now we are looking at the feudal systems.
Summer's sister Evie has just started her first year at Townley Grammar.
No, wait. I just saw her pop up.
I've definitely settled in, and I think that my amazing friends have helped. There are people in our form who are very clever, like very clever, and it's crazy, like how we all help each other though. So nobody's like better than anyone else, and nobody's less clever than anyone else, which I think is important because we all agree that in our form we all we say we have our friendship groups, but at the end of the day we all work together and we do help each other quite a lot.
7 Demeter, we're good at different things, so like one person could be good at Latin.
Yeah, I'm good
like
at singing and dancing.
Evie's really good at Latin. And another person, like Angelique, she's not here, but she's really good at dancing.
So am I.
Summer is looking around Erith School in case she doesn't reach the selective level. Philip is here too.
I'm Subi, I'll be your tour guide today. In technology, it's like IT, you'll do similar stuff.
This side is the science faculty, which will go down first. It smells of Bunsen burners right now.
And what this will do is it will laser cut it for you, and then you can just stick it together and make it.
Mum. Wow. Mum, I'm a god of electricity. Ready?
Across England, grammar schools tend to have much higher Ofsted ratings than secondary moderns.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and prospective Erith School students. Erith School is a community school. It's one that reflects the standards and aspirations of our parents, our neighbours, and what they have for their local school. I'm sure that you are aware that in June 2016 and in November, we had a visit from Ofsted. They judged the school to require improvement. From that point, I introduced action plans to address the recommendations. We are on a journey. We are going from strength to strength under my leadership.
It was really good. I really like it here. And I think there is a good chance of me coming here.
This is his favourite school so far.
And I hope you pass.
Thank you.
Yeah. You'll be fine end bar, it's not the end of the world if you don't. It's just the 11 plus. It's not like your GCSEs. So.
Thank you.
Janita, you're staying. George, you're staying. So is Ruby, Philip.
The children who are taking the 11 plus, that's most of the class, will do a single practice test.
This is just a chance for us to practice. When it comes to the real thing on Wednesday, it is under time conditions.
Shade your answer on the coloured answer sheet by choosing one of the options A to E.
Are you feeling nervous for them?
Not hugely. I mean, my job's to reassure them and calm them, which I'll do my best to do. But no, I don't really worry for them. Throughout the education system now, they are used to taking tests. This is just one thing that they go through of the many, 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 many tests they're going to face in the future.
When you get to the end of that section, please put your pencil down, okay?
If I got into a grammar school, that would be great and I'd be really happy with myself.
Is it the fact that passing makes you happy or that this?
Yeah, it's the fact that I've worked so hard and it's paid off, and that would make me feel good inside. So yeah.
I think the part that worries me the most is not passing and going to comprehensive school, because there are like 2 schools that I really don't want to go to. So if I don't pass, I might have to go to those schools, and I just feel quite scared and worried a lot, disturbed.
When I've been practicing, I usually get most of the questions wrong, and
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel a bit annoyed because it kind of makes me feel that I'm definitely not going to pass, but I'm quite dumb.
The opposite to enormous is B, tiny. So tiny should have been marked a strike through B on your answer sheet. I have got personal views on it because both my children go to a grammar school. I think if you're part of this borough, there is a strong held belief that that's where the most opportunities will be provided. So it worked for my children. So
I don't disagree with grammar schools, but because like you say, for children like yours, that was the best place for them.
Yeah.
That you felt, and it was your personal choice as well. I do kind of think that all schools should be the same.
And
I don't see why there should be the divide. I think that, you know, if you're going to have a grammar school, have them all the same.
But that would be my ideally in the ideal world. Every school would have the same.
Why are they different? Why not make them the same? It's my personal view.
But at this point in time, they aren't. So you understand why parents are quite driven and quite motivated to get their children to a certain level.
Yeah.
The day of the test has finally arrived.
Have you taken the bottle? Just cool.
Did the baby keep you awake last night?
He was talking a lot. He didn't let me sleep that much. So it was like a 50-50 chance. I tried to make him keep quiet, but he doesn't really listen.
You're going to take it in? Well, be careful. Do not spill it.
What's happening today?
The 11 plus. I'm quite confident that I'm going to do well because I've been doing tutor for a long time now and it's boosted up my confidence.
Don't get yourself all nervous and wound up.
I know it's not easy, but just try and stay calm and just focus on it. And of course the other thing is, you've got to be careful of the time, because what you don't want to do is run out of time and then have a lot of questions towards the end that you haven't even attempted to answer.
I'm actually quite excited about it.
Oh yeah.
The 11
Is it all day or just morning?
I think it's in the morning and a bit in the afternoon, but I'm not really too sure. My sister had a...
Just do your best, son. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
But I thought exactly. Penguin huddle. Me.
Wait, Janita, you two...
Yeah?
You don't know?
How are you boys doing? You ready for it? Right.
Hopefully. Yeah. Bit nervous.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I will.
Do your best. Yeah?
Yeah.
Good girl.
Love you.
All I'm going to say is do your best.
Yeah.
All right, that's all you've got to do.
Yeah.
It's 2 hours, couple of hours out your life. You'll do fine.
Okay.
All right, and when it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
Don't want you to worry about it anymore,
Yeah.
all right?
Yeah.
I love you. I wish you all the best. Okay?
Okay.
Good luck. Okay? Do your best, please. Okay? Remember all your promises. If you need them, please.
Bye.
Just take it easy, yeah?
Yeah.
Stay calm, nice and slow.
See you afterwards.
Supporters of the 11 Plus say it's improved in recent years, and it's now a genuine test of cognitive ability.
And we're only talking a matter of marks. Could be a bad day, yeah. And they may not end up in the grammar school, but still be very talented and able.
Given that ultimately you won't be able to test everybody at the right time for them, it's the fairest system that currently exists. It does mean everybody gets a fair chance to do the test. It's open to everybody. In the end, everybody wants it to be a fair system, but it's not fair that some people are born into poverty and other people are born into affluence. None of that is particularly fair.
It works for some kids and it doesn't for others, I guess. I certainly see no harm in competition. I think it's good to promote in children that if you've got a strength that you should work on it and excel at it.
Just a little bit anxious. I'm going through those emotions, but I guess most of the mums and dads are feeling the same way as well.
If a parent decides to put their children through 11 plus, then put a lot of pressure on them. If they fail by 1 mark or 10 marks or 20 marks from a pass mark, and they will get that information back, how does that person feel? Because I think a lot of the children will find that as being a negative experience, and it will be with them. It's a moment in their life that I don't think they will ever forget.
Well, do you know what? If they come out with a smile on their face, that's definitely a good sign. Yeah. If they come out
go like this now, what have she done?
It was a bit harder than I thought it was. I thought it would have been a bit easier because with like the lines and all of the different options, but it was actually quite hard.
How do you feel?
Pleased, because I think I did really well on my writing. And I'm quite proud of myself because of that.
I did all of them and I didn't answer everything. So what I did was I went back because I had loads of time left.
Cool.
So I went back and answered.
That's it, that's strategy, babe. Well done. Well done.
It was okay. Yeah, it was quite easy.
Well done. Well done.
Okay, Kipling, thank you very much. What is in that orange bag over there? Why is that on the table?
If the kids from Uplands don't make it through the test, one of the schools they could go to is Erith.
Right, Libby, that's not water. You're not drinking that in my classroom. Dr. Pepper is not a breakfast beverage, is it? No, it's not a breakfast beverage. Thank you. What is... No. No. Okay, so I need to do a reading book check. Reading book. Reading book, show me. Waiting for Carly, waiting for Libby. Where are your reading books? So you haven't got reading books, so you know what the consequences, don't you? Come here, please, contact book. The rest of you, off you go. See you later, have a lovely day. Bye, have a lovely day. See you later, have a good day, guys. Bye-bye now. Young lady, you have to have a reading book on you every day.
I keep forgetting.
Well, you can't forget. Why are you drinking that in registration?
Because I got it in the meal deal and I didn't have none last Thursday. I haven't got no water.
Okay.
I got a water bottle, but I didn't fill it up this morning.
Right, okay, so we've really got to get you more organised, haven't we? Because not having a reading book, not having your water for your
I
days.
packed my bag yesterday, but last night, but I forgot to.
Right, this drink here counts as 20% of your daily intake of sugar.
What's that mean?
Do you know how much sugar is in this? Right, okay, so for tomorrow, I want you to find out how many tablespoons of sugar are in this drink.
Okay.
Off you go then. Bye-bye now. Have a good day. I think that she's just not in the swing of things yet. She's got to get herself more organised. But hopefully, we'll get her there. We'll get her there.
In last year's GCSEs at Erith School, less than a quarter of the students got a grade 5, around a high C, in both English and maths. But at Townley Grammar, nearly all the students got to that level.
He's getting on really well. He's quite a bubbly member of my form, always got something to contribute, always got something to add.
Miss Edinburgh wants to make sure the new generation of Erith students can aim higher.
If he is in his other lessons how he is in registration, then I would imagine that he'll do very well.
He seems happy, so are me and his mum. Everything's good so far.
I've got students in front of me that are not grammar school students that didn't pass their 11+, but they are hard-working students, you know, and they try. Have we been staying on top of our homework?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's really good. She's doing really, really well. Really conscientious young lady. You can see the resilience starting to show through. They are a great group of children, and you can see that they're determined as well, and they're feisty.
We haven't really got a science teacher. Our first science teacher, who left, and then we had a few supplies, and then we had another one, and I'm not so sure where she went.
You've been chewing them up and spitting them out, Karen? Are you sure? Failure is something that we have to learn to deal with, absolutely, and you know it's a hard lesson to take, but it doesn't necessarily mean that your failure has to be consistent. It doesn't mean that it's something that you have to be comfortable with. In fact, don't be comfortable with it. Learn from it, mould it, harness it, use it. If selection didn't exist in this area, I don't believe our challenges would be any different. The issues would be the same. We just have a wider range, shall we say.
Do you think there is a role for grammar schools?
There is absolutely a role for grammar schools, you know, within the borough, and I think probably across the country. You know, why not? I see the results that these schools are getting, you know, and I see the young people that are coming out the doors the other side. And it's great.
Caecilius est pater. What do we think pater might mean? Just the single word pater. Sarah.
I think it might be father.
Father.
The girls here are going to be so much smarter than I am. We have quite a lot of disadvantaged students. Doesn't matter where she's come from, whether or not she's on free school meals. Grammar schools do offer that opportunity for shining. I think probably the best thing is the fact that everybody here is here to learn. That's why they're here. They did their 11+ because they want to do well.
There are many charities that help people in need, such as Water Aid and Children in Need. These are just a few. There are so many issues in our world that many organisations come together and try and help our world.
We've taken the cream. We've taken the best. I've taught comprehensive for 6 years, absolutely love the kids. And what I also see, heartbreakingly, is the ones who don't pass the 11+ and then decide that they can never do well. Never. Unfortunately, this system fosters that too. It's a shame we can't just have the aspirational side without the crushing kids' dreams side.
divided by 4. 4. Ping, pong, ping, pong, ping.
It's now a month since the children at Upland Primary School took their 11+ exam.
The school received the results yesterday. Parents will have received at some point throughout the day. There are a few surprises, there are a few shocks, as there always is. Some very good scores, which actually do really reflect some of those children's ability. But yeah, some have just got the pass mark, so, and then obviously some haven't.
I'm a little bit panicked because I don't know what is coming now. So since yesterday, I'm nervous because it's a dangerous time to me. I don't know. So,
Can you make sense of it? So it says the selection panel decided to deem pupils selective if they achieved a total score of 214 and above. Janita got 192, which means Janita's not selective and not qualified to be considered for a grammar school in Bexley.
That's it. There's nothing I can do. She did not get it, so.
What?
Very excited.
Why?
Later.
Oh, okay. Come
When
on,
do we
let's
actually
go.
get them? Do you know what time?
They're on an email on my phone.
Already?
Yes.
Did you open them?
No. I'm going to read it all together. We got the email at 10:30 this morning, and I didn't find it till 1 o'clock because it went into my junk email. So it's here on the phone.
No.
So I think you should read it out to everybody.
Okay.
Dear parent.
Dear parent / guardian, Bexley selection test 2017. Selection panel decided seems pupils selective if they achieved a total of 214.
So you actually get 214 marks to pass.
What did I get?
You get 240 above. This means that Summer is
selective.
Because you got
216. Well done.
Do you understand what that means?
Does that mean?
That means you pass 11+, mate. Well done.
Mum.
That's really good. Oh, mate, are you pleased with yourself? Oh, come here.
Oh God, you're gonna make me cry.
You're allowed to cry. You can cry when you're happy.
I don't wanna cry.
Are you pleased with yourself?
Yes, so good.
Right, well, let's celebrate then. With a glass of milk. It's good for your bones. Summer Pearson.
Yay!
Our little house brainiac.
Jonita has got to wait until her mum gets home from work to get the news.
Jonita!
Yes, Dad?
What are you doing?
Coming.
How are you?
Fine.
How was school today?
Good. Are you sure? Did you check on the phone?
Yeah,
Are you sure it said that?
How can I lie to you? It came to it too.
Oh.
And we didn't pass. You see? It's really sad to me. I don't know how you feel, but if you feel the same, I don't know.
I just feel upset because I don't know what's gonna happen now.
So wow.
Yellow team, I need you over here, please. There you go.
There's been lots of conversations between the children, lots of, have you passed, have you passed, did you pass? And lots of children coming in and saying straight away, failed. Those children that have passed haven't said anything, so they're keeping it to themselves. I think as a bid to kind of show the others that it's not something to show off about. They don't want to upset anybody else, which has been kind of nice.
Right, total up, please. Which should require lots of noise to total up.
How did you guys do in the results?
I passed. I was 10 points off. I feel it was really close. I thought it was like the biggest thing ever, but it's kind of not because I've looked at other schools, like comprehensive schools, and some of them are really good. So I didn't really mind about it, but I was really happy for Jamie. Thanks. I'm a bit happier because I don't have to waste. I don't have to use all my Mondays doing tutor.
28, which was... sadly, I didn't pass, but at least I gave it my best shot. Me and my friends are just like, well, if we didn't pass, we'll do really well at a non-selective school. We're still clever no matter like what score we get. At least we like all tried our best, and our best kind of just wasn't good enough, so we have to accept that and just like move on. So yeah.
As their teacher, it is hard. So I've been avoiding the issue slightly this morning because I don't want to cause any tears by asking. We had a good talk about it yesterday, about how hard they've worked, how hard they've tried, and it doesn't matter. If they don't get the result they expected or their parents expected, their life goes on.
I just think about my future, what's going to happen to me. Am I going to be successful in life, or am I going to be just a big failure? I don't really know why it didn't work. I'm not sure why, but yeah, I just got to try my best the next time.
I would never tell a child that they failed. And whether you're a parent, a teacher, or a journalist, I don't think you should ever tell a child that they failed. There's a selective test. The result of that is you're either deemed selective or you're not deemed selective. There's no pass or fail in there, only if people call it that. And adults who should know better call it that. When they receive their letter about the selective score, they're not told that they're a failure. It's only the people around them, the adults around them, that keep telling them that they're a failure. And we need to stop doing that. Because they're not failures, they're just not going to a grammar school. They're going to a different school instead.
They're bound to feel that though, aren't they?
They don't, children will learn what they experience. If the experience we give them is about pass and fail, and about competition, and about rivalry, then that's what they will learn. We are, in effect, talent spotting to some extent. We are trying to find some of the really good minds, and we're trying to foster and nurture those. which to me just seems a perfectly logical thing to do as a society. It doesn't mean because we're doing that, we're devaluing everybody else.
So first we're going to take you to the art room, room 4. So if you just like to follow me.
For the children who've reached the selective level, it's time to visit the local grammar schools.
We've got a dance studio if you'd like to follow me. Yeah. You can do loads of things in like this school.
Oh my, that's so cool.
But they still have most of their final year at primary school ahead of them.
Will they treat me badly? Who can tell? Away from all the fire and fear.
It's stark. You know, they're given that piece of paper which shows what the pass mark was. They haven't reached that pass mark, so it is a failure.
Fathers, brothers and sons were recruited to go and fight for their country, whilst mothers and children left behind to face the blitz.
But as a school, we very quickly want to move on from that, and particularly within Year 6, it is now all about what they do achieve, and this year for them is as fun, engaging, exciting, all of those things that a primary school should be for them. At this moment in time, there'll be a bit of disappointment, but I think Roman and Philip will quickly move on from that. If I see Janita in 10 years' time, Mum's going to be telling me what superb things that she's doing. No shadow of a doubt. So no matter where Janita goes, her family have instilled in her such a great work ethic. Every journey that they go on is a lesson in life. Did they need to go through it now? Yeah. Did they need to go through it now? Probably not.
Next time,
Okay, who needs removing, sir? Right, let's go.
how does selection affect the next 5 years of school life?
But I got this. I can't teach a kid like this.
At a grammar school,
We're in one of the top performing schools in the country.
I'm really scared. I'm like, my grades aren't high enough.
or at a secondary modern.
I'm not an angry person. I'm not.
The decision was made by the head teacher. That is a fait accompli. That's done.